Hey guys, welcome back for another video. My name is Tanya for those of you that are new here, and I am a watercolor artist and a furniture painter, so you will be seeing both types of tutorials on this channel. But today's the first day of winter and I want to do something kind of simple but wintry for you, so I decided to paint some mittens. So I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so I have my watercolor paper, I have two paintbrushes, my Grumbacher paint brushes, a size 6 and a size 2. I have a pencil, I have my Winsor watercolors, and 2 cups of water. All right, so to get started, we're just gonna lightly sketch our mittens, and you can position your mittens any way you want to on here. It could be like they're hanging down maybe from a rope, they could be over maybe like a chair, they could be just laying on a table. So you position your mittens any way you want. I'm just gonna have mine they're gonna have kind of that string and it's gonna be tying them together. So if you wanna follow along with me, that's how I'm doing it. All right, so I hope you can see this. The sun is really bright today, but I'm just gonna lightly sketch my mittens and I'm gonna make them nice and big so we can get a little bit more detail in there, but you can make yours as big as you want. And if it doesn't seem right to you, then just come in and erase it and just keep playing around with it until you get to the shape that you like. I think that's where I'm going to be. And then I think I'm going to have them offset a little bit so that they're not completely opposite of each other. I think I'm going to have this one come down a little bit. And you can Google mittens or even go on Pinterest and just look up mittens. There's so many different kinds of mittens out there, so many different colors and patterns and shapes. There's some with the fur on the little part here that goes on your wrist. So, or you could just do it plain. It doesn't really matter. So just pick a mitten that you want to paint. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to lighten up my lines a little bit. I think that's about where I want it. All right, so I'm going to lighten up my lines a little bit. All right. Okay, so I'm not sure you can still see that now that I lightened them up, but as I'm painting, you'll be able to see. All right, so I'm going to pick up my size 2 brush, and I'm going to go in and I think I'm going to make these green, actually. So I'm just going to pick up a green. I'm not even going to tell you what colors I'm using here because it doesn't really matter. So you can choose any color you want. All right. And what I'm going to do, so now that I got my paint wet, I'm going to go ahead and get my mitten wet as well. And you don't want it saturated, but you want it wet enough that your paint will glide across the paper. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and pick up my green and kind of go around what I just did, but I'm going to let it bleed to the middle. And if it's not bleeding as much as you wanted, maybe it dried a little quicker than you thought, you can always go in and just tap it and let it bleed in a little bit more with just some clean water. And go ahead and fix up the edges. If you see that part of your mitten is not as round as you want it to be, or it's too round, just go ahead now and go ahead and reshape your mitten. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other mitten wet as well. And it could be that I'm sitting in the sun and my paper is drying a little bit faster than normal. That could be also. But it is the end of December. It's almost Christmas, and getting the sun shining through my window is a big plus for me. So I'm going to be sitting in the sun. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my green again, go kind of around my edges. I love this green. I think it's a Winsor green blue. I know I told you I wouldn't tell you what colors I'm using, but this is one of my favorite colors, so I will tell you. It's a Winsor green blue. All right, now that one's bleeding in nicely. Take a little bit of clean water and just help it along if you want it to be helped along a little bit more into the middle. All right, beautiful. All right, this one is kind of dry. I'm gonna go over it again. Deepen up my colors a little bit. Now this is just gonna be a really simple mitten for you. I'm not doing any kind of fancy mitten here. You know what, I might put fur on it. Maybe I'll get a little fancy for you. Maybe I'll put fur around the part up here that goes around your wrist. All right, let's put a little bit more green on this one. And now that Christmas is almost here, I stopped doing my Christmas videos because it's only like 4 days away. But I am gonna be doing more winter scenes for you. So I'm gonna start out with my mittens. So that's a cute one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the white fur here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take kind of a Payne's gray. You could take a black, you could take any color you want. It doesn't have to be a white fur. I want mine to be a white fur, so I'm just gonna kind of come in lightly with a Payne's gray and leave a lot of white space, but the Payne's gray kind of shows you where it's going to be, where the white of the fur is going to be. So if you think you did a little too much and you want to leave a little bit more white than that, just dab it off a little bit. There you go. And it's going to help once we put in a little bit of a background around this. It'll help you to see that a little bit better. But you could have gone in and just made the little sleeve here green. You could have made it red, whatever color you want. But I think I'm going to choose a little bit of a faux fur. So I'm going to kind of come in with a little bit more of my Payne's gray. Just put a little bit more around it. And since it's fur, it's just going to be kind of, fluffy. So you don't want it to be like any particular, going any particular way. It's just going to be kind of fluffy. So you're just going to have it kind of going around a little bit, just little strokes. All right, now I want to bring in a different color, and let's bring in a little bit of a blue. Actually, I want this blue. And I'm just gonna drop in. You could re-wet your mitten if you want to at this point, or you could just drop in the color, and then with a wet brush, just move it around a little bit. Just dab it around. I'm gonna leave more of a highlight in the middle of my mitten right there, so that's why I'm not covering it completely. I kind of like that look of a highlight in the middle there. And you can dab it off a little bit if you want to, and just rework it. So I added a little bit of blue in there just to give it a little bit more interest. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So you can either re-wet your mitten and then add the blue, or you could just add the blue and then dab it with some water, which is what I'm going to be doing. So that gives it a little bit of a different look. A little bit more interest that you added a different color. All All right, and when these dry completely, we're gonna go in and do a little bit of a pattern, kind of a little bit of a fancier pattern. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my bigger brush, which is a size 6, and let's see, let's make this background maybe a red. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my red nice and wet here. And I'm gonna come around. And you know what, actually I want to add a little bit of purple to this too. Let's add a little bit of purple. There we go. I think the purple actually looks better than the red. And I'm just gonna be dabbing it around, going around my mittens carefully. Add a little bit more water. You don't want it to be evenly spread across. Actually, it looks really nice where the red and the purple meet, so I think I might add a little bit more red. And then a little bit more purple. Remember, don't go on top of your fur here. So just kind of go around your fur a little bit. Go around your mitten. If you think that's a little too dark, pick it up with your paper towel, or you could just keep dabbing it off, and then just dab it off on your clean paper towel. So just use water and then pick it up and dab it off on your paper towel. So you could do that. All right, pick up some of that red again. I do like the red and purple combo. I think that's pretty. And you can leave the top a little bit more white if you want to, or you can bring your color all the way up. All right, so we're gonna, once this background dries, we're gonna come in with a little bit more Payne's Gray and make this little fur part here on your mitten pop a little bit more. But we're gonna let that dry, and we're gonna pick up our smaller brush again, and we're gonna do a little bit of detail inside our mittens. So pick any color you want. I think I'm gonna stick with a Payne's Gray. And use a little paintbrush, and you can kind of come in with some details. So let's see. I'll give it a little bit of a dark pattern down at the end of the tips of the mittens. You could do hearts, you could do stars, you could do swirls. Like I said before, just Google some mittens and you will find all sorts of pretty little designs. You could do a little stitch like I'm doing right there. Let's see, let's come up here, do a little line here, a little line here. Got a fuzz on my paintbrush. There we go. Let's see, we could do some little stars. Let's pick up a little more Payne's Gray. And you can do this with the watercolor brush pens as well. That would be really nice to get that fine detail with the brush pens. That'd be nice too. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick up a little bit more. I think I'm gonna have another line come down here. That's cute. All right, and then I want to shadow it a little bit. So I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow like where the thumb is. And I'm just using my Payne's Gray. Again, you could do this with any darker color. And I think I'm going to put a little shadow over here too. Bring that up a little bit. And let's see, I'm going to be darkening up a little bit of that furry part here. So I'm just going to come in with a little paintbrush. And I'm gonna lighten it with some water. And if you think that's a little too much, then just get your paintbrush with some water and dab it off some more. I just wanted it to pop out a little bit. All right, do the same thing to the other one. Okay. And I'm gonna have a green string, because I want these to be connected together. So I'm gonna come up with like kind of a green string, like that. And then I'm just gonna do a little loop, like a little bow. And then they'll be coming down a little bit. There, that's cute. And actually, I'm gonna do a little bit of green where the fur is too, because that's not looking exactly the way I want it to right now. There, I think adding a little bit of green up there is a good touch. There. And then if you see that you need to blend it in and darken it up in certain areas, you could definitely do that. And a little darker under there. There, that's cute. Okay, so now I'm going to be taking my archival ink pen here that I have, and I'm going to be coming in and making some little marks. Kind of outlining, but not really outlining, just kind of in like certain little areas. And if you want to add a little bit more detail with these, you can. I'm going to go over my little stars. You don't really need to, but it's always nice just to have a little extra detail. And if you want to add extra detail, like little stitch marks, you can do that too. And then if you wanted to, you could also even come in and make like little fur marks, little lines on your fur if you want to. Kind of like that. Not too many, but just a little bit. And then let me go over the stars on this one. That. That's really cute. A little fur down here. Very cute. And then you can come in with some little snowflakes if you want to, just like with your pen. If you want to just make it a little bit more detailed, if you're going to frame this or give it away to somebody, you can always come back in with a little bit of ink. And I'm just doing like little snowflakes, little stars. You could do little hearts, you could do little swirls, whatever you want. Okay, so there is one, and I had done a few this morning just to kind of show you. So here is the one that I just did for you, and then I came in this morning and I did a blue one. So this one was where the mitten was mostly white, and I just came in with some blue detail. And then I did another one this morning, just playing around, where these were two red ones, kind of facing the same way, but they have the long string going all the way up as if they were hanging from something. So this is just to give you an idea. You can do them any shape, you could do them any size, you could look at different patterns. So it was just a quick and easy little watercolor for you for the winter. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you liked it and learned a little something. And if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel for more videos like this one. And you can even follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great day. Bye.